What we see is we see the finished product. We see the business end of it. We see the money coming in. We see the hand being raised. That's what we see. What we don't see is the work that goes into it. The athlete that is in the gym 3 times a day, 4 times a day. The athlete that has left his family for 2 months in just so he can have that one moment of glory. That business entrepreneur who's left his job, his education, to work out of a garage to build something that he has a passion for. They don't see that. All they see is the end result. So if you truly want to be successful, you have to look deeper than what's on the surface. You have to look at what drives them. And then you need to ask yourself this. With what I want, do I have it bad enough to do that? This is the Savage Hour Podcast. We take you inside the mind of fighters, athletes, and entrepreneurs. Don't miss an episode. Follow and subscribe. It's funny how people perceive success. You know, you can walk into a business and you see everything that's going on. It looks so smooth, and you can assume the way things are ran or the way it was in the beginning for them to get there. And then a lot of people, when they start becoming more involved in that business or around those people, they start thinking that, oh, well, it's just so easy. You know, you can do this to make your business better. You can do that. But they don't see what's gone on behind scenes. They don't see what goes on behind scenes now. You know, it's easy to look at things when it's going well. It's easy to look at things when things seem everything's perfect. But you don't see what goes on in the struggle behind closed doors. You know, for me, perfect example is that my gym's been open for 6 years. We're in the middle of this pandemic, and you know, people see what we're doing right now as a business, or I should say what we were doing as a business prior to the pandemic, but they don't see the years of battling and struggling that it took to get there. They don't see all the struggling that I've done my entire life to get to this point, why my passion is the way that it is. It's not just because I opened the doors to my gym and all of a sudden now that I'm excited about it. No, I opened the doors to my gym because everything that's led up to that happening in my life, from the years of me getting bullied, from the fights that I've been in, to the disappointments that I've had in sports, my entire life leading to that first day that I wanted to open a gym. All the fights that I've had professionally, all the trials and errors that I've had to go through, the self-discovery that I've had to go through, that led to those days. When I opened my gym, I still had to figure out how I was gonna make it survive. I had to keep making adjustments. Just like today, we're in the middle of this whole unknown. I still have to make adjustments. You know, people see on the outside of businesses and they say, oh wow, you know, it looks really, really easy because it's so smoothly ran. That's what it's supposed to look like. Most businesses on the back end have so many moving parts that if you saw how those things are actually operated, it would make you sick to your stomach. One of the things you really don't see is you don't see the day-to-day stress of a business owner that is trying to figure out new ways of developing their program, their product. You don't see the things that happen when you lose an employee. You don't see the things that happen when there's a shift in the market. You get to go home and you get to worry about your own daily life, which is great, but you don't see the backstage of what goes on with those individuals. You know, a lot of people say, oh, these fighters. I'm gonna talk about fighters for a second. You know, you see a fighter on TV and you think that they've got it all worked out because they're on TV making thousands and thousands of dollars. So they've got to have the best life ever. Oh my God, they just get to wake up, they get to go fight, they get to make a lot of money, they're living the greatest life. Just because the headline news shows one thing doesn't mean that the actual body of the story is connected. Most of the time it's not. In fact, I would say very, very, very rarely, if any, is it the opposite. You know, you see these people that are high up on the totem pole. They have way more problems than most of us because it's all connected. You know, the pandemic. You know, people see a business like mine. We're struggling to survive. We're just hanging on by a thin thread trying to survive this. And people always want to give their input, and I get it, and I appreciate it. But you got to understand that I have to go to bed every single night wake up the next day and figure out, how am I going to pivot to make this work? You know, while everybody else is going out and enjoying their lives, just they're doing whatever they're doing. People that are going through struggle might not show it on the outside. And I'm not saying we're struggling to the point where I'm freaking out, but I need to make daily pivots, and people don't see that. People want to give their input, yes, and I appreciate it, just like anybody else. We appreciate your input, but don't take it offensive if we don't take it and use it, because we need to make calculated decisions on what allowed us to get there based on what drove us to get there in the first place. You know, the fact that I am a leader amongst my community that I'm with. I need to continue to do that. So that means I need to make the adjustments so I can stay motivated and I can stay driven for my people. They don't need to see the back end of this. They don't need to see that. Why? Because that doesn't help them move forward. What I need to do, just like everybody else that needs to do this, is that we need to find the strength within ourselves to make the right adjustments. That way, so the people that are around us, that they can make those adjustments. And then it keeps going around full circle. By helping others, it helps us keep moving forward. But the people that are struggling right now, they may not be even showing it. And it's because they're sitting here focusing on what they need to fix now. Hopefully. I know with myself, again, I can only relate things to what I have going on in my life and the people that are around me. You know, with the gym, we have no idea what's going to happen. We just did a story with LA Times, and we were talking about gyms in the pandemic, and so many gyms are not making it out of this. You know, you've got people that are very similar to myself that have really devoted their lives to this and have lost it because of this. You have people that have given up everything, sacrificed everything to be where they are, and now it's gone because of this. People don't see that stuff. People see only what's good on the outside. And that is why when you have somebody that is so passionate about what they do, most people will never understand why they have that passion. It's because they don't see it. They don't see what led up to that point. And that is where the true strength comes from. It's what did you do to get there? What are you doing in the moment to stay there? What have you done to fight for where you're at? That is what makes somebody's drive so powerful. If you do not have that figured out, if you have not gone through that, if you think that you can just walk in somewhere and say, I'm gonna do this without having to struggle, you've lost your damn mind. The struggle is what gives you that fire. The struggle is what gives you the fuel. If you have not been through that, then you have not put your feet in the ground. I'm sorry, you haven't. If you haven't had the floor ripped out from underneath you, you have not been tested yet. Because you are going to get tested time and time again, just so you can have that moment where people can look on the inside and be like, wow, things look like they're really good. And sometimes they are. You could have the best product and the best program in the world, but if you want to keep growing and you want to keep achieving, you want to keep excelling, then you're going to have to keep pivoting. You're going to be uncomfortable. There is no such thing as being successful and being completely comfortable. That is impossible. You're going to have to get used to being uncomfortable and make that your comfort. That's all it is. People don't see that though. People don't see that the most successful people are uncomfortable for being there. They just refuse to back down. They refuse to say, no, I'm not going to do this because I don't know the answer. It doesn't work that way. Just because you don't see what they have to do every single day to get to that moment where you're standing with them right there, doesn't matter. What you do is see the outside and you see what they've been able to do with it. Perfect example. Most successful business people, they get up early in the morning. You don't see that. Most successful athletes get up early in the morning. They start their jogging. You don't see that. What we see is we see the finished product. We see the business end of it. We see the money coming in. We see the hand being raised. That's what we see. What we don't see is the work that goes into it. The athlete that is in the gym 3 times a day, 4 times a day. The athlete that has left his family for 2 months in just so he can have that one moment of glory. That business entrepreneur who's left his job, his education, to work out of a garage to build something that he has a passion for. They don't see that. All they see is the end result. So if you truly want to be successful, you have to look deeper than what's on the surface. You have to look at what drives them. And then you need to ask yourself this. With what I want, do I have it bad enough to do that? And if the answer is no, that's perfectly fine. Just know that you'll never have that. But if you can wake up in the morning and ask yourself that every single day, is what I want more powerful than me going out and partying? Is what I want more powerful than me staying up late at night and having girls over at the house? If you can wake up every morning and ask yourself, if what I want is more powerful than sleeping in, then you're going to be on the right track. That's what people don't see. People don't see the sacrifice. They don't see the hardship. They don't see the relationships that you've been willing to let go just so you could have one extra moment to achieve something that other people will never have the balls to reach out for. I know for myself, I've let go so many different things, and I've not given myself real opportunities. And the moment I decided to say I'm all in, that's when my life changed. The moment when I decided to realize that my life was going to be built on what I did that people don't see, that's when everything changed. The most amazing accomplishments happen behind closed doors, and nobody even knows about it. But those are the ones that are most fulfilling. Those are the ones that make you know that you can do it. Those are the moments that truly make you a champion. Hey guys, if you like this episode, follow the podcast and subscribe to our YouTube channel.